Now, the next part of the process is this. And to help us out, I have reconstituted the Panic Pit Stop thought record, which you'll find. I'll re-upload it, but you'll also find it back in the annals of the group under files, but I'll put it back on top again so you can see it. We're going to use the thought record because it's a good way of identifying whether we actually think a negative belief is true or not. So the thought record is very simple. You've identified the most negative belief you have about yourself and you write it on the thought record, negative belief. Now, you write in the next column, how true does that seem in percentage terms? You write in the next column the evidence that supports that negative belief. Now, because the most negative belief you have about yourself is supported only by your feelings, it is not supported by, generally, reality. So for instance, if I was to say I feel worthless, that's the most negative belief I have about myself. In external reality, am I worthless? Well, it's really hard to sustain that in actual reality, right? I work, I pay taxes, I have a family, I do stuff. It's hard to believe that you're worthless. And so you find evidence that supports the negative thought, the negative belief. See if you can find any evidence at all. Most people find it really, really hard to find even one piece of evidence. Then you provide evidence against the negative thought. So this is what I know in reality. The negative thought, the negative belief is not true because I pay taxes, because I have a family, because I work, because I've helped lots of people, because I do all sorts of things, right? So I am not worthless. I can't sustain that because it's just not true. I know it feels true, but it's not true. And so then we come up with what I've written on the thought record, the balanced decision. And then for the balanced decision, we're going to turn that into our alternative mantra phrase. Now, if I felt that I was a worthless person, an alternative to that might be, I'm a good person. We spoke in personal value about value, okay? I'm a good person, I have value, and I do the best I can. And that would be my mantra phrase. 3 clauses, each of them true, though we don't necessarily feel them, right? It's quite easy for people to say, yeah, I'm a good person. It's quite hard for people to say, yes, I feel I have value. And I work hard, yeah, I do the best I can, yeah, I do the best I can. So it's the personal value one that has the sort of the flaw in it. So we're going to make a mantra statement. So I'm a good person, I have value, and I do the best I can would work for me. But actually, it's quite a good one as a general one, actually, because if I felt like a failure in life, right, I'm a failure, then I'm a good person, I have value, and I do the best I can would also work. So once you've identified the most negative belief you have about yourself, I'm unlovable, I'm a good person, I have value, and I do the best I can. I'm a good person, I have value, and I have friends who love me. So we can create a variation. We might want to post backwards and forwards a little bit on the group just to find the right one, but something that directly challenges the most negative belief you have about yourself, and that's something that is fairly easy to say and fairly easy to remember, and then we can turn that into the mantra exercise phrase, and that then becomes our first intervention in changing your self-esteem. And so this is what we do. We create a mantra phrase and we say it to ourselves like this. I'm a good person, I have value, I do the best I can. We say it in a block of 10. Now, I like to say it under your breath, move your mouth, hear it, think it. Block of 10, and you do 20 blocks of 10 a day spread out, which actually makes 200 repetitions in total. Now, it's invariably the case, and this always works, if you find the right negative belief about yourself, one that actually is, the negative belief that you feel about yourself, and you find the alternative, which is actually true, but you don't feel it, and you do this mantra exercise, the negative belief always changes, guaranteed 100%, it always changes, because you're practicing remembering what's actually true as opposed to just unconsciously believing what's not true, right? You feel it, but it's not true. So remember, feelings are not facts. So we're going to find the alternative to the most negative belief you have about yourself, and we're going to practice it. 10 repetitions in a set, 20 sets a day spread out. Now, I get so many objections to this. Oh, but I've got to work. How will I find time? It takes you 6 minutes to say this mantra, right? 6 minutes to do it. Now, there's a tricky bit, right? I spread this out over 20 sets of 10 per day, because the biggest problem that you have with respect to your self-esteem is that you have created a cognitive bias. You've created habits of thought, habits of action, and habits of emotion even, which support your low self-esteem, negative thought. And we have to really penetrate that sort of, that patina of practice, that process of habit. And we do that by remembering 20 times a day that actually you're a good person, you have value, you do the best you can. Actually, I'm a good person, I have value, and I have friends who love me. Actually, I'm a good person, I have value, and people care about me. You know, we're going to find a phrase and we're going to practice it. And in so doing, we're going to break the chains of habit. Now, I've said it many times before, and I'll say it again. If you want to get good at something, you must practice. If you want to get good at having good self-esteem, you must practice. This is the first bit of the practice, okay? This is the first bit of the actually intervening to change your self-esteem. So let me know how you get on. Please post comments, and let's to and fro a little bit on this, so I can help you out to find the mantra phrase that you know is true, but you don't feel or you don't believe. Okay, so let me know how you get on with this exercise.